A very good morning to all my dear students. Students, we have completed with lesson number 10, cell and cell organelles, and I hope you all have understood different types of cell organelles that we have studied. Yes, keeping those concepts in our mind, let us move to our new lesson, that is lesson number 11, human body and organ system. So are you all excited and ready to understand this chapter? Okay, so let's start. We are starting with chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Students, let us understand what all topics we are going to cover in this particular chapter or in this lesson. Okay, so let us see one by one. The very first thing that we are going to learn in this chapter is what is respiration. 3 steps of respiration we are going to understand in detail. Next, we are going to learn human respiratory system. Okay, its structure, function. In detail, we are going to understand this. Okay. Next, we are going to learn is blood circulatory system. Okay, here we are going to see the structure and function of heart. Okay. Next, we are going to understand blood vessels. What are blood vessels? Its structure, function of arteries, veins and capillaries. Don't worry, we are going to talk about it one by one. Let us just understand the topics that we are going to cover. Next, we are going to see blood, components of blood, functions of it, everything. Yes, yet another topics we have here in this lesson is human blood groups, blood donation, blood pressure, hypertension. These are topics which are very much related to respiratory system and blood circulatory system. Especially human blood groups are related to blood circulatory system. Okay, so these all topics are supposed to be covered for this particular lesson. Okay, so we are going to learn respiratory system, blood circulatory system in detail. So I hope you have understood the first video. Next video, let us start with few recall questions. So till then, thank you. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, now I hope you understood various topics that we are going to cover in lesson number 11, that is human body and organ system. All different topics I have listed in video number 1, right? Okay, now let us start with certain can you tell questions which are very important basically to start with a new concept like respiration or circulation. Okay, so let us revise certain concepts, certain definitions and then move ahead. Okay, so are you all ready? Chapter number 11 we are studying, and what is the topic of the chapter? Human body and organ system. Okay, so can you recall, students, can you recall certain questions like from what the organs and organ systems are made up of? Just think for a while, just try to recollect that we have learned in standard 7. Okay, how these organs and organ systems are formed. Students, we all know that our body is made up of different types of cells. These different cells, they come together to form a tissue. Correct. Now some students have started recollecting. Okay, tissue. Now various tissue, they come together to form an organ. Yes, many organs, when they are working together, they are called as an organ system. And a complete organ system is known as a human body. Okay, so this was organ and organ systems, how they are made up of. Now which organ systems are present in human body? Students, there are so many different organ systems which are present in our body, like respiratory system, digestive system, nervous system, circulatory system, excretory system, reproductive system, so on and so forth. Okay, so we have different organ systems. In the last class, we have studied some characters of living organisms. Okay, for organisms to be said that they are living, certain characters they should exhibit. Those characters we have learned. All the vital processes which are essential properties of living beings are collectively called as life processes. Okay, so this definition we have learned. Now students, can you tell answers to few questions of mine, like which processes occur in our body during sound sleep? When we are in sound sleep, what do you think? Which processes are occurring in our body? The answer to this question is significantly all physiological life processes are occurring. All the processes are occurring in our body when we are in sound sleep. Breathing pattern or physiological activities, they can slow down, okay, they can speed up. That may change, that may be different person to person, but processes are carried out. Okay. Now, which life processes occur continuously in our body? Students, the answer to this question is, probably you all are right, that respiratory system is very important. We should respire always. Breathing process should be carried out continuously. And circulatory system that is related to blood vessels, heart and everything, even they are important for all of us, right? Okay. Now, apart from that, students, please remember different organs in our body are working in group. They all are working in group so as to smoothly carry out various life processes. Now, these life processes takes place in various steps. Okay, there are certain steps. Specific organs carry out the specific steps. Okay, specific organs will carry out the specific steps. Understood this line? Very important definition we have reached to. Group of organs working together to form a specific function, to perform a specific function, is called as organ system. Please mark this in your textbook. Definition of organ system. Students, various organ systems like digestive, respiratory, circulatory, nervous, excretory, reproductive, skeletal, muscular, etc., all are functioning smoothly in our body. Please remember the pronunciations that I have used. I am particularly stressing the word so that you understand how to pronounce it. Okay. So with this, we have completed the can you recall and can you tell questions, so that we can start with a new topic, respiration, in the next video. Okay. So are you all ready to start with the next video, video number 3? Till then, thank you students. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, since we have completed a revision of all important concepts related to standard 8, okay, and recall certain terms and definitions, let us understand what is respiration all about. Okay, so let's get started. We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Okay, a small introduction to respiration, students. Energy is essential to operate all the life processes in human body. We all know that we require energy to carry out all the important physical activities, right? Like we require food to obtain energy, right? Energy production occurs within the cells. Now, where this energy is produced, okay, when we have food, energy is generated, energy is produced. Where it is taking place or where it is occurring within the cells. Cells need the supply of soluble nutrients and oxygen for this purpose. Now, for the cells to carry out this energy production, what they require, what materials they need? They need soluble nutrients and oxygen. Okay, these two things they would require. Now, from where do they get these materials? Students, this supply takes place with the help of respiratory and circulatory systems. Now you must be wondering, respiratory system means what now? Respiratory system is going to provide oxygen and the soluble nutrients will be provided by circulatory system. So with this, both the requirements or both the materials which the cells require for energy production is sufficed. Okay, so now this was a brief introduction of respiration. Students, respiration is carried out through following 3 steps. Okay, this particular process is carried out in following 3 steps. Let us see one by one. we are learning respiration. Students, the very first step is external respiration. In external respiration, we have inspiration or inhalation, expiration or exhalation. Okay, this is the first step. Second step, we have internal respiration. We are going to see this one by one. Third, we have cellular respiration. So first step is external respiration. Second is internal respiration. Third is cellular respiration. Let us see this one by one. What is external respiration? Students, external respiration includes both inhalation and exhalation process. Okay, so it can be also called as inspiration or inspiration and expiration. This way we will try to understand this. So first is a inspiration or inhalation. Air is taken in through nose and sent towards the lungs through trachea. Trachea is a windpipe. So air is taken through nose and it is sent towards the lungs. We are going to see with the help of diagram in the upcoming videos. Just remember the words from where it starts, from nose. It goes where? It goes to the lungs. Via, through what? There should be some channel. Na? It is okay. It is passing through trachea, which is also called as a windpipe. Then we have expiration or exhalation. Oxygen from the inspired air goes into blood. Now this oxygen which is inhaled or inspired goes where? Into the blood. Now blood carries carbon dioxide from various parts of the body towards the lungs. Now this is like a carrier system. No, blood is going to carry what? Carbon dioxide, which is a waste product, from different parts of the body towards the lungs. And this air which is collected in the lungs is given out by exhalation. Students, we all know that during inhalation what happens? Oxygen is taken in, and during exhalation what is given out? Carbon dioxide given out. This is something that we all know. Now both of these processes occurring with the help of lungs are collectively called as external respiration. Now remember, external respiration will have inhalation and exhalation, both processes are, and these processes are very important, okay, to be collectively called as external respiration. So that is clear now. Let us see internal respiration. Exchange of gases between cells and tissue fluid is called as internal respiration. This is at cellular level, which takes place inside the body, is internal respiration. That means what? Exchange of gases between cells and tissue fluids is called as internal respiration. Oxygen moves from blood into tissue fluid and carbon dioxide moves from tissue fluid into blood. Now what is given out and what is coming in? Okay, let us see. Oxygen will move from blood to tissue fluid, and carbon dioxide, which is a waste product which has to be exhaled, is moving from tissue fluid into blood. Okay, clear with this? Internal respiration is clear. Now last part is cellular respiration. Okay, students, dissolved nutrients like glucose, okay, when we have food, that complex carbohydrate gets broken down into glucose molecules. Now these is nothing but dissolved nutrient. These dissolved nutrients like glucose are slowly burnt. That means we are utilizing glucose, no? So that is slowly burnt, or it combines with oxygen. That means it gets oxidized. Yes, and energy is released in the form of ATP. Last chapter, we have learned the full form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. So remember, when glucose is oxidized, what do we get? We get energy. In which form? ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Waste materials like carbon dioxide and water vapors are produced during this process. Remember, whatever oxidation of glucose molecules takes place, it gives rise to carbon dioxide and water as byproducts. Okay, we are going to see with the help of the reaction. Cellular respiration can be summarized as follows. Can you see the reaction? This is a chemical reaction. On the left side, we have reactants. On the right side, we have products. Now, what are the reactants? Glucose, C6H12O6. This is the chemical formula for glucose. Glucose plus oxygen, that is O2, 6 molecules of oxygen. They are, okay, that means glucose combines with oxygen, it gets burned, and then what do we get? Carbon dioxide, CO2, Water, H2O, energy. How many molecules of ATP are released? Students, 38 molecules of adenosine triphosphate is released. Okay, so each molecule of glucose is going to release 38 molecules of ATP. I know this is something new to you. Go through the chemical reaction. Please write down the chemical reaction 2 times or 5 times for practice so that you get habituated for such chemical reactions in future. So this was oxidation of glucose, and oxidation of glucose comes under cellular respiration. I hope the 3 steps of respiration is clear to you all. Yes, internal respiration, external respiration, and cellular respiration. Further concepts we will see in the next video. Till then, thank you and take care all. Good morning, dear students. Students, we have already started with lesson number 11, human body and organ system. Under that, we have seen introduction to respiration, 3 steps of respiration, that is external respiration, internal respiration, and cellular respiration were talked about in detail. Okay, I hope you have understood that. So students, let us see human respiratory system structure and function in detail now. So let's begin. We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Okay, so students, what we are going to do now, we are going to observe the diagram of human respiratory system first. Okay, before jumping directly into the process and the functions and everything, let us first understand the figure. Let us first understand the diagram of human respiratory system, right? Because I think if you are aware which parts and components are where, so explanation becomes easier. Okay, so students, respiratory system structure and function, please remember that we have 5 important components or parts of this particular system. Okay, starting with, we have nose as our first part. Second is pharynx. Third, windpipe, which is also called as trachea. Fourth, we have lungs. Okay, in lungs, what we are going to do, we are going to understand a concept called as exchange of gases in lungs. Okay, so that is also covered in that. And fifth, we have diaphragm. Yes, you heard it right. How to pronounce this is diaphragm. Okay, many a time students makes this mistake while writing the spelling of diaphragm, so please make a note of it. So we have 5 subparts: nose, pharynx, windpipe or trachea, lungs, and diaphragm. Okay, so these 5 parts, we should understand it with the help of the diagram now. Where is the diagram? Yes, here is the diagram. Human respiratory system. So students, for just 2-3 seconds, just observe the figure carefully. Okay, this is your human body. Okay, coming from the left side, we have nasal cavity, nose. Okay, cavity is nothing but hole or space in body. We have nasal cavity, we have chest cavity. Okay, we have abdominal cavity. So many cavities we have in a human body. So nasal cavity is like, after the nose, you have a nasal cavity. Coming to the right hand side, if you see, the next structure is pharynx, larynx. Then on my left side, again come back to trachea, okay, which is a windpipe. Yes, the trachea gets divided into 2 parts, white colored structure. Can you see? It gets divided and it gets continued with the lungs. So we have 2 lungs, right lung and left lung. Okay, can you see the internal structure of each lungs? What they have shown, alveoli and bronchioles, that we are going to see. What is that in the further descriptional part? And then you can see some compartment sort of thing like diaphragm. Okay, it is going to separate the abdominal cavity and the chest cavity. So everything we are going to see in detail in the next video. Okay, at least some of it we are going to cover. Okay, so I hope the human respiratory system introduction to the diagram is clear to you all. Again I repeat, nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, lungs. In lungs we have bronchioles, alveoli and diaphragm. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you all now. Okay, next concepts we will see in the next video. Till then, thank you. Welcome back to the science class, students. Okay, students, we have started with human respiratory system. In that, we have observed the diagram and we have tried to identify the different parts of it, right? Okay, 5 different parts we have learned. Let us revise that first and let's begin the explanation of the human respiratory system. Okay, so let's start with that. We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Okay, so we have already seen in the previous video the 5 subparts or components of human respiratory system. Okay, we have nose, pharynx, windpipe, which is also called as trachea, lungs and diaphragm. Okay, so let us understand the working of it. Students, the very first part, as I said, is the nose. Nose is the very first part of a human respiratory system. So, respiratory system and a respiration begins with nose. Yes, it begins with nose. Air is filtered with the help of hair and mucus present in the nose. We have hair and mucus present in the nasal cavity. So, air is filtered because of these two things and then it goes inside, okay, through the nasal cavity, through nose. Okay, air is taken in. Okay, so here we can relate it to inhalation process, taken in, okay, taking in oxygen or air. Okay, so that was nose. Second we have, can you see after nasal cavity, which is the second part, students? Pharynx. Pharynx. Food pipe and windpipe originate in the pharynx. If you see, if you observe closely, two type of pipes we have, food pipe and windpipe. Obviously food pipe for, after having food, that food would be swallowed and then it goes to the food pipe and then into your intestines, stomach and intestines. Windpipe, okay, both this type, that is food pipe and windpipe, they originate, yes, from where? From the pharynx. Windpipe is present in front of the food pipe. If you see windpipe, that is trachea, right? Windpipe is present in front of the food pipe. There is a lid at the beginning of the windpipe. Now student, this is a very important line here. Lid is like a closet. There is a lid at the beginning of the windpipe. Okay, so let us understand more about pharynx in the next slide. Okay, now this windpipe which has a lid, it closes. Okay, now when does it close? During passing of food into food pipe. Okay, when we are eating, when we are having food, at that time the lid gets closed. Okay, by default we are not closing it, by default it happens, right? And thereby normally prevents the entry of food particles into windpipe. So what happens? See, if it was open, what would happen? The food particles may enter the windpipe, right? It doesn't happen so. Why? Because the lid gets closed. Okay. Otherwise, if when you're not having food or you're not eating anything, what happens? The windpipe always remains open. The windpipe is always open. Hence, air passes through pharynx into windpipe. Okay, understood this? When it gets closed, when it is open and everything. Okay, it is very simple to understand. Okay, while eating food, the windpipe lid is closed. So why? Because food particles should not enter it, no? Because that is only meant for what? Passage of air. Windpipe is only meant for passage of air. Okay. Third, let us understand windpipe in detail. Windpipe is swollen at the beginning due to sound box. Swollen means little large in size. Okay, swollen. Turgid it is. It is turgid at the beginning due to sound box. Windpipe bifurcates in the thorax. Thorax is the chest cavity. Bifurcates means it divides into two parts. Okay, if you see the trachea, it is white in color. Down, it is divided into two parts. Right lung, okay, lungs, if you see, one branch enters the right lung and the other into the left lung. Okay, so windpipe bifurcates in the thorax, that is the chest cavity, into two lungs, both the lungs, it gets entry. Next, let us see. Okay, next, what I have done is next part, that is lungs and trachea. More in detail we are going to cover in the next upcoming videos. I think for now, please go through the 3 steps of respiration and introduction of human respiratory system, the diagram and everything. Please cover it out. next videos, upcoming videos, students, we are going to discuss lungs in detail, because that's a major concept, so I have to have a separate video for that. Okay, till then I end the video here. Till then, thank you and take care all. Good morning to all my sunshines. Students, let's continue the explanation of respiratory system structure and function. We have already started human respiratory system in the last videos, where we learned different parts of respiratory system, first starting with nose, pharynx, trachea, lungs, yes, diaphragm. These were all the parts, and we have completed 3 parts in detail. The rest parts, that is lungs and diaphragm, let us see in this video. Okay, so are you all ready? We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Okay, respiratory system structure and function. Students, we have already seen nose, which starts from nasal cavity, nose. Then the pharynx is the next important part of respiratory system. Next we have trachea. Fourth we have lungs. In lungs, we are going to understand exchange of gases in the lungs, how it takes place. Fifth is diaphragm. Okay, so in this video, let us understand lungs and diaphragm in detail. Students, we all know what are lungs. Okay, a lung is present on either sides of heart in thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity means chest cavity. So a lung, because we are talking about 2 lungs here, left lung and right lung. So a lung is present on either sides, a single lung. Maximum area of thoracic cavity, students, is occupied by lungs only, and they are going to cover the maximum area of heart also. Each lung has a double layered covering, or a layer, which is called as pleura. Okay, I repeat the word pleura. Okay, so present on either sides of the heart in the thoracic cavity. Maximum area is covered by lungs. Each lung has a double layered membrane or covering, which is called as pleura. So next, let us understand. Okay, if you see the material, or if you see the substance of which it is formed, students, it is like a sponge, which is very much elastic. Lungs are made up of many small compartments called as alveoli. Okay, now you all must be wondering what is present in the lungs, right? We always have this question in our mind. Okay, we all know this functioning, everything. It is very important for the respiration, we all know that. But what is present inside? Students, alveoli are present. These are small compartments. Okay, and they all are, they are all covered with rich capillary networks. Okay, can you see the figure on my right hand side, where you can see some circular structures, and then blue, red colored veins, capillaries are present. Okay, now one thing to remember here is alveolus is a singular form name of alveoli. So when I talk about many alveolus, means I will say alveoli. Singular form is alveolus. Walls of alveoli and capillaries are extremely thin. Okay, if you see the walls, if you look at the walls of alveoli and the capillaries, both are really thin. Why? Please think over it. Why? Students, for gaseous exchange to take place. Okay, because lungs are involved in respiration process, so gaseous exchange can easily take place across these thin walls. As large number of alveoli is present in lungs, larger surfaces available for gaseous exchange, right? So as large number of alveoli, I said many compartments are present. Many compartments are present means many alveoli, right? That means larger surfaces available for gaseous exchange. Okay, now if you see the figure here, human respiratory system and alveoli, can you see how these compartments are there? Yes, and this alveoli is surrounded by capillaries. What are present in the capillaries? Some RBCs are present, and can you see some important nutrients and substances which are carried out by the RBCs, red blood cells? Yes, the capillaries contain all these RBCs and everything. Okay, now exchange of gases takes place between alveoli and the capillaries. Both have thin membranes. So in and out of air passage. Can you see that green colored label? Okay, now let us understand further description. Okay, exchange of gases in lungs. Very important concept. Gaseous exchange occurs continuously while blood is circulating around the alveoli. I told blood is circulating where? In the capillaries. So exchange of gases is continuously taking place. Yes, an iron containing protein hemoglobin is present in the RBCs of blood. Very important. Okay, iron metal containing protein, okay, that is hemoglobin, that is known as hemoglobin. Students, it is always present in the RBCs of the blood. Hemoglobin, what it does, let us understand what does hemoglobin do here. What is the function of hemoglobin? Hemoglobin absorbs the oxygen from air within the alveoli. Simultaneously, carbon dioxide and water vapors move from the blood into the alveoli. So it is going to absorb the oxygen from the air which is present inside the alveoli. And now what is given? Carbon dioxide and water vapors, they will move from the blood into the alveoli. Water vapors. And you know that when you exhale, what is given now? Carbon dioxide. And from where it is coming now? Remember students, it is coming from the blood. It is a waste product which is coming from the blood. Thus, oxygen is taken into the blood and carbon dioxide and water vapors are removed from the blood. And this process, we all know that it is exhalation. Oxygen is taken in by the alveoli and then it is passed out into the blood. It is absorbed by the hemoglobin. Now, carbon dioxide and water vapors from the blood is given into the alveoli and from the alveoli it is exhaled out. So this was the explanation of exchange of gases in lungs. I hope you have understood, students, this explanation. Okay. Further concepts we will see in the next video. Thank you. Welcome back to the science class, students. In the previous video, we have seen the structure and function of lungs, how they are involved in exchange of gases between the alveoli and blood. Remember? Okay. So let's see the explanation of diaphragm. Okay, so let's begin. We're learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Okay, students, the fifth part or the fifth component of human respiratory system is diaphragm. Okay, a muscular partition is present at the base of thoracic cage. Okay, at the base of the thoracic cavity, students, a muscular partition is present. This partition is called as diaphragm. Can you see where diaphragm is? Yes. Okay. It is present between the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity. Remember, diaphragm is always present in between the thoracic rib cage, okay, thoracic cage and the abdominal cavity. Simultaneous rising up of ribs and lowering of diaphragm causes the decrease in pressure on lungs. Due to this, air moves into the lungs through the nose. What happens, during inhalation, okay, when we are taking air inside our lungs, there is rising up of ribs. We all know that rib cage, okay, part of skeleton. So rising up of ribs and lowering of diaphragm. This happens, okay, this physical changes occurs, and due to this there is a decrease in pressure on the lungs. Okay, what happens here is during inhalation process, rising up of lips and lowering of diaphragm takes place. Please remember this, and this will cause what? Decrease in pressure on the lungs. Next, let us see. When ribs return to their original position and diaphragm rises up, okay, pressure on the lungs increases. So previously I talked about inhalation, when you are taking air inside the lungs. Yes, at that time the diaphragm lowers down, okay, and the ribs rises up. Now here, as if you see, it's been opposite. It is like opposite to this. When ribs return to their original position and diaphragm rises up, what happens? The pressure on the lungs increases. Due to this, air moves out from it through nose. Okay, so Continuous upward and downward movement of diaphragm is necessary to bring about the breathing process. What I want to talk about here is diaphragm is very much involved in this breathing activity or breathing process in our body. Okay, it is a muscular partition. It is exactly in between the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity. What happens during inhalation? The diaphragm lowers down, and during exhalation what happens? Yes, the diaphragm will rise up. Remember these two things for particularly diaphragm as a description. Okay, so this was all about diaphragm. I hope you have understood the proper structure and function of respiratory system in human beings now. Okay, the further concept related to blood circulatory system we will see in the next upcoming videos. Till then, thank you and take care all. A very good morning to all my dear students. Students, we have learned that cells need the supply of soluble nutrients and oxygen for energy production. Correct? Now, the supply takes place with the help of two systems. Which two systems we have learned? Respiratory system and circulatory system. Respiratory system is involved in oxygen supply, but remember one thing, circulatory system is also very much important for supply of nutrients so that cell can produce their energy. Correct? So so far what we have learned human respiratory system. So let's start the second system, that is blood circulatory system. So are you all ready? We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Before that, students, let's recall certain definitions. Okay. The first question is, what is meant by blood circulation? Okay. The process of pumping the blood towards various parts of the body and bringing it back towards the heart is called as blood circulation. Got it? Which organs are present in blood circulatory system? Students, the major components of the blood circulatory system are heart and blood vessels. Okay, in blood vessels we have arteries, veins and capillaries. Don't worry, everything we are going to learn in this chapter. Blood circulatory system. Circulatory system performs the very important function of transport of various substances. Now, which substances, students? Examples we have as water, hormones, oxygen, soluble nutrients and waste materials through different organs. Yes, transport of various substances. Please remember these words. An independent system for blood circulation is present in humans and higher animals. Okay. Now, blood circulatory system consists of heart, blood vessels and capillaries. Under blood vessels, we have arteries and veins. Okay. So, let's move ahead. Blood circulatory system. In that, the very first part, important part we are going to learn, student, is heart for structure and function. Okay, so let's start. Okay, first let us understand where is heart present. Yes, it is present at the center in the thoracic cage. Exactly, it is present behind the ribs, between the two lungs and slightly inclined on left side, slightly bent towards the left side. Size of our heart is equal to one's own fist, closed fist, and its weight is about 360 grams. Okay, these are the proper measurements. It is covered by double layered peritoneal membrane. Again, I'll repeat, peritoneal membrane. Okay, it is covered by double layered peritoneal membrane. Now remember one thing. A fluid is present between these two layers, that is double layer. Why a fluid is present? So that it will protect our heart from any kind of friction or any kind of mechanical shocks. Okay, so a fluid is present between this peritoneal membrane. Okay, very important point. Human heart is a muscular organ. It is made up of involuntary cardiac muscles. Involuntary means not moving. Voluntary means movable, right? They contract and relax with a definite rhythm, okay, with a definite space, with a definite pattern, okay. They contract and relax. And this is called as what? This is called as beating of heart, correct? Internally, heart is divided into left and right compartments by a vertical partition. Okay, we have a vertical partition. Can you see the figure which is given as 11.3? Yes. Right pulmonary artery, then we have left pulmonary artery, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, right pulmonary veins, right atrium, left atrium, bicuspid valve, left ventricle, tricuspid valve, right ventricle, semilunar valve of systemic aorta. Okay, students, one thing I would like to share is you have to just remember the words, the names, the labelings of structure of heart. You have to practice this in your science notebook. Once you will draw it as an exercise, and one you can also draw and practice in your rough notebooks. Okay, very, very important structure of heart. You just have to remember the namings, where is right and left. So basically it is divided into two compartments, left compartment and right compartment. Further, students, further, these compartments, each compartment is divided into two more chambers. That means total how many chambers are there? 4 chambers. Upper chambers are called as atria, singular atrium. Yes, plural form of atrium is atria. And lower chambers as ventricles. I hope you have understood the heart structure in detail. Yes, please remember the names. Once if you start reading it and if you practice it, the names would not be difficult for you. Okay, I hope you have understood that. Later, that is second and third, blood vessels and capillaries, we will see in the next upcoming videos. Till then, thank you so much. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, in video 1, we have learned structure of heart and its function in detail, right? In this video, let us understand the second important part of blood circulatory system, that is blood vessels. So let's begin. We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Blood circulatory system, in that we are going to see blood vessels. Blood vessels. Students, talking about blood vessels, structure and function, let us first understand of how many parts or of how many components it is made up of. We have arteries, veins and capillaries. Okay, so let us understand it one by one. First, we are going to talk about arteries and veins in this video. In video number 3, I am going to talk about capillaries in detail. Okay, so let's just focus on difference between arteries and veins. Okay. Okay, number 1 point, that is the first component of blood vessel, is arteries. We all know that heart is beating continuously, and when this process is in continuous manner, blood continuously circulates through blood vessels. Yes, when this process is continuous, even the blood circulates through blood vessels continuously, right? Now there are two main types of blood vessels, arteries and veins. Okay, let us understand what are arteries. Blood vessels which carry the blood away from the heart are called as arteries. They are going to carry the blood away from the heart. Okay. Now there is one exception, except the one carrying blood towards the lungs. Now remember, there is one artery which carries the blood towards the lung. If you accept that, if you take it as exception, all others, yes, all others, they carry oxygenated blood, means blood carrying oxygen. Okay, so except one, okay, which carries the blood towards the lungs, all the arteries carries oxygenated blood. That is the meaning of this line. These are deeply located in the body and their walls are thick. Okay, they are deeply located, they are not superficial, they are deeply located inside the body, and their walls, the walls of the arteries, are really thick. These vessels do not have valves. Okay, they do not have valves. Let us understand what is valve. Afterwards, I'm going to show the structure of artery and vein. In that, I will explain you much in detail. What is the meaning of valves? Okay, open and lid kind of structure which is present. Okay, that is not present in arteries. Remember this. Let us understand the second blood vessel, that is veins. Vessels carrying the blood towards the heart from various parts of the body are called as veins. Arteries were carrying blood away from the heart. Veins are carrying the blood towards the heart from various parts of the body are called as veins. Again, here, all veins except the one carrying the blood from the lungs. That is, yes, from the lungs. If you take it as exception, all the veins, they transport deoxygenated blood except the one, okay, one which carries blood from the lungs. All are carrying deoxygenated blood without oxygen. Most of the veins are superficially located in the body. Superficial, at the layer, at the top. Their walls are thin. They are not as thick as arteries, and these are provided with valves. They have this open and close lid kind of structure in them. Okay, so this was arteries and veins explanation. Let us understand this with the help of the diagram. Okay, this is the same diagram given in the textbook 11.4, structure of artery and vein. Students, please observe the diagram closely. You will understand it very easily. Yes, if you see artery and if you see vein, artery is shown in pink color, vein is shown in blue color. Now let us try to understand. Can you see this capillary structure they have shown? Mesh kind of thing, network kind of thing, that these are known as capillaries. Small, small networks. Can you see purple color they have shown? Okay, then we have valves in veins. Can you see how it is, how the structure looks like when there is a valve? But there is no valve in artery. It is a complete hollow structure, circular structure, oval kind of structure. Intima is the inner lining, yes, of the wall. Then we have muscles, maroon colored or orange color, whatever color you would like to name it here is. It is of it is known as muscle. And then we have a connective tissue which is in blue color. So connective tissue, then we have muscles in between, then we have intima. Yes, valve is present only in vein. Okay, so this is the structure of artery and vein. Yes, I think this is clear to you all now. Coming to history, in 1628, William Harvey, he described the mechanism of circulation in the body. So this is the name of the scientist. This is the renowned scientist William Harvey, who has described this particular mechanism for all of us. He proposed a theory, and what was in the theory? The theory consists of the explanation of heart. Okay, that heart is a muscular pump by which blood is circulated in the body. So he has proposed this in his theory. It is like a pump. It is like a muscular pump. Okay, he discovered the working mechanism of valves of the heart. Okay, if you remember the structure of heart, you had bicuspid valve, tricuspid valve. Yes, so the mechanism and everything was explained by our renowned scientist William Harvey in 1628. Yes, this is long, long back history, students. I hope blood vessels, arteries and veins is clear. In the third video, we will understand capillaries. Okay, till then, thank you and take care all. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, in the previous videos, video 1 and video 2, we have started with blood circulatory system. In that we have learned heart structure and function. Then we saw blood vessels. In that we saw arteries and veins, the difference between them, their features, everything we have covered, right? In this video, let us understand what are capillaries. So let's begin. We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Blood circulatory system. Yes, this is the topic. In that we are going to see capillaries. Yes, students, we all know that what are arteries and veins, their differences. Okay, now these arteries, they gradually branch out with decrease in their diameter. As they branch out, as they divide, they will decrease in their diameter, and as they spread in the body, yes, they finally form what? Fine hair-like vessels. These are called as capillaries. Okay, fine network hair-like vessels are called as capillaries. Walls of capillaries are extremely thin. I repeat, walls of capillaries are extremely thin and made up of single layer of cells. Now, why this is so? Students, due to this, what happens, exchange of materials between the capillaries and cells becomes very easy. Yes, exchange of materials will be easy now when the membrane is very thin. If it is double layered, it is not possible. During the exchange, what happens? We will see what all things are exchanged. Oxygen, nutrients, hormones, vitamins, etc. etc. They are all sent towards the cells because the cells require it. And waste materials of the cells like carbon dioxide and other waste, they move into the blood. Okay, so useful things are given towards the cells and then waste materials are taken from the cells into the blood. So this is the function of capillaries in short. Let us understand the figure, students. Okay, please observe the figure carefully. The red colored structure is an artery which is carrying the blood away from the heart. So from the heart, then on my right hand side we have blue colored structure which is a vein which is carrying heart, okay, which carries the blood towards the heart, right? And in between we have our capillaries. Now let us understand it. Students, we all know that capillaries, they originate from or they branch out from where? Arteries, as I explained earlier. Now these arteries, when they form all fine mesh-like network and everything it is formed, finally what happens, finally they unite together to form the vessels of more diameter. And these are known as veins. Understood? Originating from artery and then forming fine network like vessels, okay, with thin diameter, and then again uniting together, okay, to form veins of more diameter. So capillary network is present in each organ, students. So they are having this very important function of exchange of materials. Okay, it can be everything from oxygen to waste product. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you all what are capillaries. Students, do you know, in case of a healthy person, how many times a heart beats? Like 72 times. Okay, this is the heart per minute rate. Now, rate of heart, it increases due to certain activities, like if we are doing any physical exercise or emotions. Okay, due to this, the heart rate will increase. And similarly, when you are sleeping, okay, when you are resting, at that time your heart beat, okay, will decrease. Okay, number of beats is more in case of infants. Now infants will be like 1 month old baby, 2 month, okay, these are known as infants. Okay, so in their case number of beats is more. Students, we have two types of sounds which are heard during heartbeat. One is described as lub, another is described as dub. So it is lub dub, lub dub, lub dub. So you got it, the real two types of sounds of heart now. Okay. Heart pumps about how much ml of blood? Very, very important. It is a muscular pump as said by William Harvey. So how much amount of blood is circulated or pumped? That is 75 ml of blood during each beat. Can you imagine? Okay, how strong they are. Yes. So I hope capillaries is clear to you all now. Further concept, students, we will see in the next upcoming videos. Till then, take care all. Good morning wishes to all my dear students. We have already learned human circulatory system in previous videos. In that we have seen structure and function of heart, blood vessels, arteries, veins and capillaries. Remember? Okay, so in this video, students, we are going to see functioning of heart, and second we are going to understand blood. Yes, in detail we are going to understand blood and its components. So let's start. We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Yes, under blood circulatory system, students, we are going to understand blood circulation. Second, we are going to see blood in detail, and you will come to know the different components of blood. We have plasma, blood vessels and platelets. These are important components of blood. Don't worry, we are going to see everything in detail one by one. So let's start. First, we will see functioning of heart. Okay. Students, what is blood circulation? Pumping of blood towards various parts of the body and bringing it back towards the heart is called as blood circulation. Simple, pumping of blood takes place in to and fro manner. Now, to maintain the continuity in the circulation, the heart has to pump, okay, alternatively, means it has to contract and it has to relax alternatively. That is contraction and relaxation process. Now, consecutive single contraction and relaxation of heart constitutes a single heartbeat. Consecutive means one after another. So this single contraction and relaxation of heart constitutes a single heartbeat. Clear? Now let us understand blood. Students, we all know that blood is a red colored fluid material. Yes, it is a fluid which type it is made up of? It is made up of connective tissue. Now the oxygenated blood is deep red color. Now you must be thinking, what is oxygenated blood? Blood carrying oxygen is known as oxygenated blood. Clear? Now now oxygenated blood is deep red in color, salty to taste, and pH is 7.4. Now what is pH? pH is concentration of hydrogen ion and it is 7.4. This we have to remember. Blood is composed of mainly two components. First we have plasma, second we have blood cells. Now in blood cells, students, again we have three components or three types are present. Red blood corpuscles, white blood cells and platelets. Red blood corpuscles, short form we have RBCs, white blood cells we have WBCs, and then we have platelets. Okay, so these three types comes under blood cells. Okay, so let us understand plasma first. Plasma is pale yellow, clear and slightly alkaline fluid. It contains 90 to 92% water, 6 to 8% proteins, 1 to 2% inorganic salts and other components. Okay, students, can you see how much concentration of water it has? Maximum concentration. And plasma constitutes the major blood volume also. Okay, now when I say that it contains 6 to 8% proteins, now which are the proteins present? We have albumin, globulins, fibrinogen and prothrombin. These are the proteins, okay, vital proteins which are present in plasma. Now for albumin, what is the function of albumin? Albumin distributes the water all over the body. This is the function of albumin. What is the function of globulin? Protection. Okay, it is involved in protecting our body from any kind of infection. Then we have fibrinogen and prothrombin. These two are clotting factors. They are very much important for blood clotting process. Students, blood clotting means what? Okay, usually blood is in liquid state. And when this blood, it transforms into gel or semi-solid state or form, okay, that is known as clot, clump of blood. Okay, so they are very much important in blood clotting process. Now, plasma also contains some inorganic ions like calcium, sodium, potassium. Okay, they all control the function of muscles and nerves. Okay, I hope this is clear. Next, let us understand blood cells. Okay, the very first type, red blood corpuscles, that is RBCs. Now RBCs are very small, they are circular, they are enucleated. Now what is enucleated word meaning? Without nucleus. Okay, these cells, they appear red. Why they appear red? Because they contain hemoglobin. Now hemoglobin has this oxygen binding capacity. Okay, so oxygen dissolves in the blood due to hemoglobin presence. Okay, 50 to 60 lakh RBCs are present in each cubic millimeter of blood. RBCs are produced in red bone marrow and they live for about 100 to 127 days. Okay, so students, now where is the red bone marrow found? It is usually found in vertebrae, hips, yes, ribs, skull, and always at the ends of long bones of the arms and legs it is produced. Yes, just replacing the fat tissue which is present, we have red bone marrow. Okay, please remember the location. And they live for about 100 to 127 days. Let us understand WBCs. WBCs are large, they are nucleated, means they have nucleus. They are colorless, they are not red like RBCs. 5,000 to 10,000 WBCs are present per millimeter cube of blood. Just remember the number, 5,000 to 10,000. Now, students, we have 5 types of WBCs with us. Which are those names? Basophils, eosinophils, neutrophils, monocytes, and lymphocytes. These are the 5 types of WBCs. Basophils, eosinophils, neutrophils, monocytes, and lymphocytes. They have specific functions. Okay, each of them has specific functions that you are going to learn in higher classes. WBCs are produced in red bone marrow like RBCs only. WBCs act as soldiers in our body. Very, very important, students. These cells, they are going to attack the pathogens which are entering our body. That means they are acting like soldiers. They protect us from the microbial diseases. Any kind of microbial diseases, we are protected only because of WBCs. Please remember WBCs, yes, for fighting infections in our body. So they are acting as soldiers. Last, we have platelets. Students, platelets are extremely small. They are disc shaped. But what is the number? Let us see. 2.5 to 4 lakh platelets are present per millimeter cube of blood. Can you see the number? A huge number. Yes, platelets. And always remember, the major function of platelets is blood clotting process. Okay, whenever you get an injury or you get wound, lot of blood will lose, right? Yes, now after this we have a blood clotting process where the liquid state of the blood changes to semi-solid or gel-like. That is very much important, right? So in that process platelets are involved. So we have RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. I hope all 3 components are clear to you all. Next concepts we will see in the next upcoming video. Till then, thank you. Welcome back to the science class, students. In the first video, we have learned blood in detail, its components like WBCs, RBCs, platelets, right? In this video, let us understand functions of blood in detail. Okay, so let's start. We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Yes, we are going to concentrate on different functions of blood. Okay, students, in your textbook there are total 8 functions they have appropriately given one by one. Okay, so let us understand each and every point together. The very first function we have is transport of gases. Now, which gases are carried where and where it is transported, let us understand. Oxygen is carried via blood from lungs to cells. Yes, oxygen is carried from lungs to cells. Yes, in various parts of the body, and carbon dioxide from the tissues to the lungs. Yes, so oxygen is carried from lungs to cells and carbon dioxide from tissues to lungs. So this transport of gases is very important function of blood. Yes. Second, we have transport of nutrients. Simple nutrients like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, they are taken up by blood from wall of alimentary canal and transported up to each cell in the body. Okay, now in the alimentary canal in the stomach, okay, we have glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. These simple nutrients which are present, they are taken up by the blood. Yes, from the wall of alimentary canal, and then where it is transported to each and every cell, because cells require nutrients, cells require oxygen for energy production, as we have already learned. Okay, third important function is transport of waste materials. Okay, nitrogenous waste like ammonia, urea, creatinine, they are released by tissues into blood. Okay, so from the tissues, from the cells, these all waste are released into the blood. and this blood which carries those to kidney. Okay, so it is like transportation process only, right? So via blood, the waste, the nitrogenous waste is carried to where? It is carried to kidney for excretion process. Yes, we all know that kidney is very much involved in filtration process, cleaning process of our body. So blood is doing that particular function also, transport of waste materials. Okay, let us see fourth one, protection. Antibodies which are produced in the blood and they protect the body from microbes and other harmful particles. Antibodies are proteins, okay, which are produced in the blood. They are going to protect our body like WBCs, yes, from different microbes and other harmful particles. So antibodies are produced. That means they are directly involved in protection function. Okay, now let us see fifth, sixth, seventh and eighth point. Okay, point number 5. Transport of enzymes and hormones. Yes, we all know what are enzymes. They speed up the reaction. They itself do not take part in the reaction, but they are responsible for speeding up the reaction. Yes. So that was enzymes we have learned, and hormones. Yes, very much present in our body. Hormones we are going to learn in detail in higher classes. Blood transports the enzymes and hormones from the site of their production to the site of their action. So blood is going to do what? Similar, like transport of what? Enzymes and hormones. Hormones are chemical substances basically. So these two things are transported from the site where it is produced, okay, to the site of their action where their action mode is required. 6, we have thermoregulation. Students' body temperature is maintained constant at which degree? 37 degrees Celsius. This is the temperature, body temperature, which is always maintained. And this is maintained by vasodilation and vasoconstriction. Now, what is vasodilation? Always remember these two meanings of two opposite meanings. Vasodilation means widening of blood vessels and vasoconstriction is narrowing of blood vessels. So widening and narrowing, these two terms are involved in vasodilation and vasoconstriction. 7th, we have maintaining the balance of minerals like sodium, potassium in the body. They are going to balance the minerals, sodium and potassium in the body. 8th point is if bleeding occurs at the injury. Platelets and a protein called fibrinogen of the blood, they form a clot. As I said, they form a clump. Okay, gel-like form it gets converted into, and they seal the injury because that is very important, or else there will be loss of blood, right? So they are also involved in, yes, blood clotting process. So these all were functions of blood. I hope you have understood functions of blood in detail now. Okay, next blood groups, human blood groups and blood donation we will see in the next upcoming video. Okay, till then, thank you. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, in the previous video, we have learned functions of blood. Correct? In this video, let us understand human blood groups and blood donation. So let's start. We are learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. We are going to understand different types of human blood groups and what is blood donation all about. Human blood groups. Depending upon the proteins like antigens and antibodies, yes, depending upon the proteins like, which are these two names, antigens and antibodies, we have different blood groups or different blood groups are formed in our body. Now there are 4 main groups of human blood. Which are those? A, B, AB and O. I repeat, A, B, AB and O. Now besides, there are 2 types as Rh negative and Rh positive of each of these 4 groups. For example, A Rh positive, A Rh negative, B Rh positive, B Rh negative, AB Rh positive, AB Rh negative, ORH positive, ORH negative. Understood? That means total how many blood groups are formed, students, here? 8 blood groups are formed. I hope you understood this RH positive and negative ones. Let us understand blood donation. If a person meets with an accident, what happens? Bleeding occurs through that wound. Many a times blood transfusion is necessary during the surgical operation. Blood transfusion means transfer of blood. Blood is required for that patient, for that victim. Similarly, blood is transfused in case of patients of anemia, thalassemia, cancer. Now, these are the diseases which you are going to learn in higher classes in detail. Remember, for these particular set of diseases, blood is transfused. That is, blood is transferred to these patients. Okay, so we require blood. Blood transfusion is carried out to compensate the blood storage in the body. Okay, there is a definite proportion, there is a definite volume of blood which is required by our body, right? During accident, okay, when there is wound, so there is lot of blood loss. Okay, in that case, blood transfusion is done. This is called as blood transfusion, transfer of blood. Now students, a question arises here is, from where the blood is supplied for blood transfusion? Obviously, when we have to transfer that particular blood to the patient, from where does this blood is transferred or is supplied? Let us understand some terms here. What are blood banks? Let us understand. Banks, okay, storage of blood. So, blood is collected in blood banks by specific method from the healthy persons and supplied to the needy person. That means we are collecting the blood from a healthy person and it is supplied to the needful person who is in emergency ward. If the collected blood is not to be used immediately, then it can be stored for some days in refrigerator. If the blood is not going to be used immediately, okay, very immediate, then it can be stored where? It can be stored in the refrigerator as well. Blood donor. Now let us understand who is blood donor and blood recipient. Who is blood donor? A person who donates the blood is referred as blood donor. We have lot of blood donation camps throughout, okay. So a donor is a person who donates the blood. From where the blood is supplied for blood transfusion, let us understand other thing, that is blood recipient. Person who receives the blood is referred as recipient, okay. Person who receives the blood. Person of the blood group O, very important point now. Person of the blood group O can donate the blood to the person having any other blood group. That means person with the blood group O can donate the blood to person having A blood group, B blood group or AB blood group. Okay, it can donate to any of the blood groups. Whereas the person with AB blood group can receive the blood from the person with any other blood group. That means A, B and O, all these blood group persons can donate the blood to AB blood group. Understood? O can donate the blood, AB can receive the blood from the persons, yes, having different blood groups. Hence, can we conclude something from this? Students, person of the blood group O is called as universal donor, correct? And the person with blood group AB is called as universal recipient. It is going to accept the blood from different blood groups. Understood these two terms, universal donor and universal recipient? Okay, so this was interesting, right? Now blood groups are hereditary and depend upon the genes which are inherited from the parents. Okay, it is hereditary. Which blood group you will get, that is solely dependent upon heredity. Blood transfusion is performed only after the blood group matching. Very important. Yes, if a person is having blood group A, so he has to receive, yes, blood group person A only, right? Blood transfusion of blood group A only can be done. If it is done without matching, it may prove fatal for the patient. Fatal means it can cause death. Person who donates the blood may be recipient in future. Now you are a healthy person, you are donating the blood. You never know, in future you may be the recipient receiving the blood, correct? Blood donation without any expectation is always life-saving. Very important line, students. Okay, always we have to donate blood whenever it is possible for us. Blood is required in various situations like accidents, bleeding, parturition, surgical operations, etc. During all these processes, blood is required. Blood donated by healthy person is used to save the life of needful people. So this whatever blood we are going to store in blood banks, okay, that is finally going to used, okay, it is going to help or save the life of a needful person. Hence, blood donation is considered as the best donation, students. Okay, always remember this. Blood donation is considered as the best donation. You can save the life of the person, right? So this was all about blood donation. I hope you understood all the concepts. Okay, later concepts we will see in the next upcoming videos. Till then, thank you and take care all. Good morning wishes to all my dear students. In previous video, we have learned blood in detail. Yes, its component, functions of blood, blood donations, human blood groups, everything we have understood, students. We have reached to the last part of the last section of this chapter where we are going to talk about what is blood pressure and hypertension. Okay, so let's begin. We are learning chapter number 11, Human Body and Organ System. In this video, let us understand blood pressure and hypertension, which is also called as high blood pressure. Okay. Students, we all know that blood is continuously kept flowing through blood vessels. Blood vessels, which are the blood vessels? Arteries, veins and capillaries. Remember, these were the types of blood vessels. So blood is continuously flowing through that, due to which contraction and relaxation of the heart takes place. Correct? Now, due to contraction of the heart, pressure is exerted on the wall of arteries and it is called as blood pressure. Okay, due to contraction of the heart, what happens? Lot of pressure is exerted on the wall of the arteries, which is one type of blood vessel, and that is called as blood pressure. Proper blood pressure is necessary to supply the blood in all parts of the body. Yes, there is a proper flow or proper pressure, okay, of the blood through all the blood vessels. So pressure recorded during the contraction of the heart is called as systolic pressure, and that one recorded during relaxation is called as diastolic pressure. So pressure, when it is recorded during contraction of the heart, it is called as systolic pressure. Remember this. And the one recorded during relaxation is called as diastolic pressure. Blood pressure of a healthy person is about 120 upon 18 millimeter to 139 upon 89 millimeter of mercury. It is measured with the help of sphygmomanometer. Okay, so blood pressure of a healthy person is how much, students? 120 to 80 to 139 to 89 millimeter of mercury, and it is measured with the help of sphygmomanometer. You must have seen with the doctors this particular instrument that I'm going to show in the next slide. What is sphygmomanometer? Okay, you have to write the spelling 2-3 times so that you get acquainted with this. Okay, this is a new term for you. Understood? What is systolic pressure? What is diastolic pressure? Pressure recorded during contraction, systolic. Pressure recorded during relaxation, diastolic pressure. And always remember, there should be a proper blood pressure, okay, which is very much important to keep our body healthy. Okay. Next, let us understand hypertension, or what is known as high blood pressure or high BP. This word high BP, you must be acquainted with, or you must have heard, okay, from your elders, okay, from your parents sometimes during conversation. High BP, this term, right? So high blood pressure than the normal is referred as hypertension. Okay, blood pressure, okay, which is not normal, which is really high than the normal range or level, is referred to as hypertension. In arteries of the person with hypertension, unnecessarily tension develops. What is tension? Being stretched, being pulled. Okay, so what happens here, heart has to perform more effectively than the normal condition. It needs to perform more, okay, than the normal condition. In case of hypertension, lot of work is done, stress is developed on it. Now both systolic and diastolic pressures are high in hypertension. Now you must be thinking exactly what is high. Both systolic and diastolic pressures are high in hypertension. Okay, so always remember what does hypertension means. High blood pressure. Hyper means more. Always remember this. Okay, this is the instrument that I was talking about, which is known as sphygmomanometer. Okay, if you have not seen this instrument, you can always check with the doctors. When next time you will go, you can ask for this instrument. Okay, just to see it. Okay, just you should know that. That is why I'm saying this. So this is something known as sphygmomanometer to check the blood pressure of the patients. This is the table which is given in your textbook, where clearly they have sorted out types like normal blood pressure, primary hypertension means it is a start of BP, okay, hypertension stage 1, hypertension stage 2, okay, these are some of the types: normal, primary, hypertension stage 1, hypertension stage 2. Now let us understand the values of systolic and diastolic pressure here. Always remember, for a normal person, okay, or normal blood pressure should always be in between 90 to 119 millimeter. Diastolic is 60 to 75 millimeter. Now what is systolic? Remember, contraction of heart, okay, and diastolic pressure will be related to relaxation of heart. Coming to primary hypertension, it is 120 to 139 millimeter systolic, and diastolic is 80 to 89 millimeter. Okay. Coming to hypertension stage 1, systolic pressure is 140 to 159 millimeter and diastolic pressure is 90 to 99 millimeter. Hypertension stage 2, systolic pressure is greater than 160 millimeter and diastolic pressure is greater than 100 millimeter. So these are some of the values of systolic pressure and diastolic pressure which is given in the textbook. I hope you have understood these two important terms. Okay, what is blood pressure all about and what is high BP, that is high blood pressure, or it is also known as hypertension. Yes. Next last small section of the chapter we are going to see in the next video. Till then, thank you and take care all. Welcome back to the science class, students. Let's discuss some important points that we need to remember for this chapter, human body and organ system. So let's begin. We're learning chapter number 11, human body and organ system. Always remember, the very first point is blood production occurs continuously in our body. About 350 ml of blood is collected from a person during donation. During blood donation, how much amount of blood is collected? 350 ml. And our body restores the fluid part of it within 24 hours. Yes, the body restores it also within 24 hours. Now remember, pregnant and breastfeeding women cannot donate the blood. 1st October is observed as National Voluntary Blood Donation Day, and there is no problem or trouble during or after the blood donation. Okay, please take a note of it. There is no problem, there is no trouble. Healthy person of age more than 18 years can donate the blood for 3 to 4 times a year. A healthy person whose age is more than 18 years, he or she can donate the blood how many times? 3 to 4 times a year. Discovery of blood groups. Students, A, B, O blood groups were discovered by Karl Landsteiner in 1900. He won the Nobel Prize of 1930 for this discovery. Okay, so what is the name of the scientist? Karl Landsteiner. In which year? 1900. Blood group AB was discovered by G. Castello and Sterling in 1902. Yes, so ABO was discovered by Karl Landsteiner and AB was discovered by G. Castello and Sterling. Students, do you know what is hematology, or have you heard this term hematology? Let us understand that. Hematology, logy is study, right? So let us understand what is hematology, branch of medical science that deals with the study of blood, hematopoietic organs, okay, which are this particular organs are related in the blood production. They are related to blood production, and blood diseases is called as hematology. Okay, branch of medical science that deals with the study of blood, hematopoietic organs, and blood diseases. Okay, remember these keywords. Research of diagnosis and remedies of blood diseases is also performed in this branch. So it is not only study of certain organs and diseases, but it is also related with research work and diagnosis and finding out remedies for this blood diseases. So that is the meaning of hematology, this particular branch of science. So students, with this I have completed the chapter 11, human body and organ system. I hope all the concepts are clear to you. Immediately you will get the PDF of question answers for this. Please write down it with good handwriting. Draw the diagrams neatly, label it neatly in boxes, okay, and complete your work on time, okay. So thank you and take care all.